Harvey is a hub city.
Okay.
Okay. You have access to interstate highways or for outgoing or incoming facilities here.
Okay.
We have great potential, and we want to utilize it. Okay.
Right.
I came here in 1969. Okay. Harvey was not like it is today. Okay. It has become so decrepit, and you have no access to anything to use as far as economic base. The city has become completely depleted. We do not have a major grocery store. We do not have anything that would accommodate the citizens here easily. We have to go outside of the city to get anything as far as like buying a good pair of shoes, okay? Right. Even sometimes when it comes to our medical facilities.
I feel very emotional about Harvey because I know all the great memories from my family growing up here and what a wonderful, upstanding, prosperous town it was. And to see how much it's changed and to see how people are suffering here, and I feel I sort of owe something. I want to give back for all the good that was given to me and my family over the years from Harvey. I want to give back. And many of the folks that are here, they're retired, they're older, they may not have the money or the funds or support. They can't leave, they don't have an option. Because people also will tell us that. They'll be like, oh, well, if you don't like it, just move. But yes, I'm that bleeding heart liberal person as far as where I'm like, I want to help the people that can't. Well, most of these people, they don't have a choice.
Right.
They literally are stuck being stolen from and abused and lied to.
We have a lot of dumping.
Okay.
A lot of individuals dumping. I believe that they are coming from other communities.
Okay.
But this building was burnt down approximately 3 to 4 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe about 3 years ago. And the city has done nothing. And this is a school route.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And this is what we're dealing with.
Wow.
And if you even go up, the structure, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
The building right across the street, a storm came through and knocked that down. So they had to come in and...
Oh, wow.
That used to be an apartment building and a bar.
Wow.
But this has been here for over a year.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And look how close to the residents.
Yeah, they're right across the street. This is just kind of a small alleyway.
Correct. Correct.
Wow.
And those poles, we have not had lights through here for the last 6 years. So it's completely dark at night. We were off, we didn't have lights on Halsted from 159th to 171st Street. Just recently, they decided to put on the lights again. And this is another building that had burnt out. Somehow, some reason, we were being targeted.
Oh.
And buildings.
So these were arson?
You know what? No one ever came out and said it, but it was ironic on how they just burned.
Were there ever any investigations into it?
You know, that I don't know. I know we have a phenomenal fire department.
Right.
And they do offer their reports. Again, it's right adjacent to residents. This has been cleaned up 5-6 times and people still dump. But you can see how this building is buckling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's been like that for 6 years.
Wow.
And Cook County has a partnership where they could help tear down these old buildings. The other communities, surrounding communities, have partnered with it For whatever reason, the city of Harvey is not.
Oh, wow.
This has a lot of kids. Look at the danger zone.
Can I step
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of kids in this area? you say?
Yes, a lot of little kids.
Okay. Oh, wow. Jeez.
And the city cannot say that they're not aware of it because they've boarded up these buildings.
Right. And these have been boarded for a while with
Correct.
those,
Correct.
wow. And so, do parents ever like try and get in touch about
Absolutely.
this? And yeah.
Absolutely. That is the number one reason why people call.
Right.
What can we do about this?
Right.
And unfortunately, as legislators, I cannot contact the city and say, well, we need something done here. The mayor is the manager of the city, and he made it very clear. Everything has to go through him.
Right.
At one point, they created like a little memo thing that we have to file a report, give it to the mayor, and it's at the mayor's discretion. I do not even do that anymore.
Yeah.
I text a complaint, I send it to him, the mayor, and to the department supervisor, and to the individual who is inquiring about it. So everybody gets the feedback.
There's 6 families on this block. Okay. 6 families. It's on Harvey right here with the private property. Sorry. We got Miss. Oh no, I'm not gonna say her name. I was about to say her name.
Okay.
Another family toured in. There's
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, no, 5 on this side,
Okay.
and there's 1 on this side here.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is how they live.
Yeah.
They can't sell their properties because basically what happens is the properties aren't worth selling. If they were to sell, you may get, if you could get $2,000 for one of these townhouses, you'd be lucky. Harvey didn't always look this way. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these homes looked a lot nicer at
Oh,
one point.
believe me. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna age myself. Okay. But we had a 1974 baby blue Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Okay, parked right there. You know, in front of the house. Down there was a straight down. Actually, was another row of buildings going straight across. Behind there was a park, basketball courts, and you could be out there all night if you wanted to, and no one was going to bother you, and nothing happened, and there weren't the same issues. There were people here that were, successful people, and they raised their children, and they had good families, and they came from wholesome backgrounds. Yes. Jobs left. Companies left. And there was a quote unquote, as they call, white flight. And we lost a lot of the brain trust here as well. But there's a but to that. But for me, that's just a temporary explanation. It's not an overall excuse. This is because you got millions and millions of dollars.
What would be the first thing, if you had to choose one thing that you would want to see serious progress in here in Harvey?
Yeah. I would say get the mayor. Just, he and his associates need to be
Removed from office?
investigated,
Yeah.
removed. Everything that we cannot do as private citizens, because
Right.
it's not our job. We pay our taxes to law enforcement and to state attorneys and stuff, so that they do this, and it's not they're not doing their job.
Right.
Which makes us think, okay, are you getting something out of this? You know, as a state attorney or as a, you know, the federal government or something, are you getting a bribe? Are you getting, you know, why would you not investigate such blatant corruption?
I walk these streets with 4 females, myself included, and we hit every door. And I can get emotional because if I can take this little ward, prior to 2 years, all this was cleaned up. You will go through houses that were boarded up. We haven't had painted them.
Right.
We took care of the ward. I mean, but he froze off all expense accounts because everything I get, I put back into the ward. And I am one of the fortunate ones because this is a part-time position.
Right.
And I do put the money back. I'm not doing this for money.
Right.
See, we have our ward.
Oh, nice.
Sorry. But we have, you know, very nice people.
Right.
They may not look like me. We may have different education. They may have more education. But everyone has a common denominator. This is home. How you doing, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Why are you filming us? Why are you filming us?
I'm filming her.
He's filming me.
What's up?
I'm gonna get out of the car. I want you to stay in.
Okay.
I am Shirley Drewinski. How are ya?
I knew she was somebody.
I got more money than some white people.
Yeah.
And there's some white people got more money than me.
Right.
Wait, and there's an Asian guy right now that's got more money than all of us.
Right.
So that doesn't, you know what I'm saying, the race and the nationality and the religion, that doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, no matter who you are, you also want the same thing. Roof over your head, clothes on your backs, food on the table. But there's nobody out here to fight for these people. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I want to know what happened to the finances.
Right.
Because every piece of change that parent has to lose out on because they have to give it to the city and the city's not responsible with it, there's a child that's missing a pair of shoes, maybe doesn't get a pair of slacks.
What do you hope to do to continue to work against?
I will continue to fight for transparency, oversight, and accountability by way of being vocal, even more vocal than I have been, but educating the community on how to hold elected officials accountable, become a professional fact finders, and not allowing, a nice suit, the nice smell of cologne, perfume, or the nice charisma and the cunning use of words to convince them that this is the right way to do things. To make sure that those type of people produce documents to back up what they're saying. Okay, I want to continue to help the community and community organizing, so they themselves can be empowered and know that they can demand, for their tax dollars to be not misappropriated, and they can demand like basic services to be done, because it's our tax dollars. So I'll continue to play more of a role of educating the community, because I believe the most powerful voter is the most informed voter. So that would be my focus.
The most important move would be for us to become unified. We need deep unification, and for the citizens of Harvey to join the bandwagon, to be alerted to what is going on, your surroundings, especially in the political arena, We know there's a lot of things that are negative around here, but we can make the corrections. But it calls for head, feet, everything that you've got, contacts, positive contacts, in order to say we got to change here.
Right.
You got to come out and vote. Voting is a very important element. Don't think that a change is going to come out of the blue sky. It won't. We make the changes. We, the people that live here. We, the constituents that are working so fervently right now. And that's why we're actually trying to reach out with the media. We're in an abyss right now, but we're moving out. We're going to be like the phoenix that came out and flew like out of the fire. And it's going to be glorious. It's really going to be glorious because I see future things for Harvey that are very, very positive. And I've got grandchildren. I want them to be able to look around and say, "Woo, Grandmama did a good job." Because when my kids were here, and they're all gone now, one in Atlanta, one in Long Beach, California, doing beautifully. And I'm very, very proud of them. And I have to put that in because they came from the streets of Harvey.
Absolutely.
They were right. They went to high school, grammar school, right here in Harvey. And I think that if they came back, and once in a while they do, and saw that the changes, the positive changes that we have, citizens here have made, I think they will be very, very proud also. So we need that. We need your help, but we have to stick together. You can't be like an ostrich and keep your head down in the sand and say, when I come out, everything is going to be well. You've got to be a part of it. Okay. You've got to be there to say, yeah, we are going to do better, and we have done better.
My library benefit the citizens of Harvey, that they resume and restore free internet access to all citizens of Harvey, free of charge, to restore the possibility of receiving or renting out a DVD or CD without a charge, and to be more transparent in the operations of Harvey, and that pick committees, financial committees that actually do go through bank statements as it was recommended by the accountant and compare invoices and requisitions with bank statements, which is not being done. It seems like it's very limited. That needs to change. So our activity and our program could be more transparent. This is what I'm trying to do, and hopefully that some of the other trustees will come aboard, and hopefully their goals is the same, is to serve the citizens of Harvey.
As Ms. Ruby said, vote. Vote is key. And for municipal elections like we just had, what we call the midterms, the presidential elections, all of those matter. They all matter. And, in this past municipal election, I didn't get everything I wanted. But we made progress. We made some progress. And if we can convince ourselves that if we can get our little guy in, that little guy is in contact with a bigger guy, and that guy is in contact with a bigger guy, and this is how we change the political culture in our country. We have to do, I can't fix the governor's race, but I can sure, talk to my neighbors and try to encourage them to vote their interests here in the city. And go to meetings, go to council meetings, go to school board meetings, go to library board meetings. And it's amazing the things you will learn. It is just amazing. It's astounding the things.
Very simple, basic question. Can we see the invoices before we pay the bills? That was it. But see, that was not a question that people would normally ask. Can we see the invoices before we pay the bills? What is Attorney Clark doing? What is Alderman Clark doing? What is he talking about? Can we see the invoices before we pay the bill? Well, you know, I pay my ComEd bill. If I pay the ComEd bill, I want to see the bill before I pay it. You pay the water bill, you want to see the bill before you pay it. You're using your car note, house note, whatever it is, you want to see the bill before you pay it. Well, now we're talking about spending millions and millions of dollars. Can we see the bill before we pay it? I have yet, in the past 2 years, to see a single bill. A single invoice. I have not seen an invoice yet. And I've been an alderman for 2 years now.
The most recent audit was 2007. So we hadn't even had an audit in the city since 2007. Since then, they've come up to date with the audit. And they will boast that we're current with our audit, but when you look at the audits, they have all these crazy recommendations that it's just, I'm embarrassed really for our city, you know, but that's why I got involved to try to help turn this around.
Right.
You know, but I wish it was some way that he would be out of office before this 2 years over. I would hate to see the city have to go through all that we will have to go through over the next 2 years with him being our leader.
So basically, Harvey, again, being the industrial city, you know, that's its history, is a main, or has been a main distribution point for Lake Michigan water via the city of Chicago. And Harvey actually sells water to various surrounding communities. Well, during the Kellogg administration, the funds have been mishandled and used to pay salaries and all sorts of other things besides like paying the water bill, which is what they're supposed to be for. And so the city of Chicago sued Harvey, and now we have our water bills are dramatically higher because basically we have to pay because our mayor and his buddies stole money.
Right.
So that affects everybody. So we have some senior citizens, for instance, that they have to pick, do I want to pay my water bill this month or do I want to get medication? Because let's say their bill was like $30 a month, you know, and then it jumps up to $70, $100. Some people have water bills a few $100s a month. It's just crazy.
He is taking money from the water fund. We have a pumping station here in Harvey. So there are a few other communities that pay us for the water that we all get from Chicago. He's using that money for things other than paying Chicago for the water. We are in arrears for that. And this is after a settlement that was already made because we were not paying Chicago for the water that we drink.
Harvey is a city in financial crisis. We are $154 million in debt. And I can honestly say that as of this date, I still have really no idea how that happened. And it's not because I didn't go to school. I got plaques on the wall that show that I went. And I have transcripts that show that I was a pretty decent student. Okay? Engineering and law. So I can add. But the money doesn't seem to add up. So what happens at the end of the day, because of that particular challenge, it's difficult to provide people what they need now, or not overtax the people. To give you an example, our water situation with the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago provides water to the city of Harvey. Harvey in turn would sell a portion of that water to 5 other municipalities. The city of Harvey's residents would pay their water bill monthly. The other municipalities would pay their bills to the city of Harvey monthly. Harvey had a responsibility to remit those funds or a portion of those funds to the city of Chicago. However, for years, Harvey did not, to the tune of approximately $18 million. So while everyone was paying their bills, Harvey was not taking that money and using it to pay the city of Chicago. So the question becomes, what happened to that money? In addition to that, the mayor proposed to increase the water rates. on the citizens of Harvey. The city council voted down the water increase, and the mayor decided, even though the city council voted down the increase, that he was going to increase the rates anyway. So now I have constituents who have water bills that have doubled, some have even tripled. They have no idea how their water is calculated. And one would think that after all of that the mayor and his administration would continue to pay the city of Chicago.
Right.
Because it had not paid the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Oh gosh.
The city of Chicago had to go back. First of all, initially the city of Chicago had sued. And it was settled. The suit was settled for $18 million. It was actually originally $21 million, but the city of Chicago forgave $3 million in fines, fees, interest, and things of that nature, which brought it down to $18 million. Well, after the mayor raised the rates and still did not continue to pay the city of Chicago, even though he had raised the rates, so in essence we were paying our bills twice. The bills we had already paid that wasn't paid to the city of Chicago, and the new bills. He still didn't pay the city of Chicago, and now the city of Harvey owes Chicago $26 million. But we still don't know what happened to that money. That's a problem.
It's not in any city funds, or
No.
it's, wow.
No. The city says that it's either broke or close to broke. So if it's broke or close to broke, and you've been collecting millions of dollars for years and years and years, well, what did you do with that money? Now, mind you, water money is supposed to go into a water fund. And from my understanding under state law, you cannot take the money from the water fund and use it for any other purpose other than water. So when citizens pay their money, that money is supposed to go into that fund to be used for the purposes of making sure that they have water.
Right.
That money was taken out of the water fund, which from my understanding is against state law, taken out of the water fund, transferred into the general fund, and from the general fund, it disappeared. We don't know where it went.
Wow.
So that's just one issue. We have what we call the botched hotel deal, where the city took out bonds to renovate a hotel on, I think it's 171st and Halsted here in Harvey.
Okay.
Now, I still have no clue why the city is in the hotel renovation business, but it took out a revenue bond. The city took out a revenue bond. They were supposed to renovate the hotel. The hotel was never renovated. Those bonds will cost the citizens of Harvey $20 million. Now, we don't know what happened to the money from the bonds. We do know that Mayor Kellogg signed a document saying that the work was done or completed on the hotel. And because the work was completed on the hotel, the monies should be released. And so the monies were released, but we don't know where that money went. So that's another thing that citizens of Harvey have to deal with and have to pay for. Mind you, if there was a hotel, I would even say, okay, well, you know, maybe there was some mistakes or something like that. We can clean those things up, but at least we got a hotel. We don't have a hotel. But we're $20 more million in the hole because of it, and no one knows where the money went. Okay, so it's those types of things. Recently, it was revealed that the city of Harvey had paid $19,000 in a lawsuit for the mayor's sister, and it was pertaining to a Mercedes-Benz that she had purchased but not paid for.
Wow.
Okay. And so that wasn't a city vehicle. His sister was not an employee of the city. But when she was sued, the city of Harvey was brought into the lawsuit, and it ended up that $19,000 of the taxpayers' dollars went to pay for the mayor's sister's Mercedes-Benz.
Wow.
I mean, I can go on and on and on.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, so with something like that, is there something off the top of your head that would have benefited the city, that the money that went to the mayor's sister, that could have helped here within the city?
Well, yes. I mean, just for instance, just, you know, what some would consider a nominal amount, $19,000. What could $19,000 have done? $19,000 could have hired another part-time employee to help to clean up some of the streets on the city. Could have helped to actually hire a Harvey resident to do so.
Right.
Because here, $19,000 is a nice piece of money. When you're in a city where the vast majority of your students qualify for free lunch, meaning that they are somewhere below the poverty line, and $19,000 means a lot. So it definitely could have done that just for specifically for an individual, but also that would have helped to make the city look better.
Right.
And that's just $19,000. We're not going into $154 million.
What's the most criminal is the fact that our state and federal authorities are not stepping in.
Right.
Because there's this attitude of sort of like, oh, well, you guys voted for him. Well, when you have a guy who's been in office since 2003 and has a history of intimidating people and spreading lies and misinformation,
right,
and all this, I mean, you can't just blame that on the people, because the actual democratic system is flawed. It's not working right.
They will complain to me privately, but they will not complain to the city.
So is that because they don't necessarily understand the process of submitting a complaint, or is it just because they're inaccessible? Or, like, I've heard about the intimidation factor from other people I've spoken with today. Why are they not reporting these unsafe conditions?
I think there are a lot of variables.
It kind of depends on the person.
Exactly. I think there are a lot of variables. A lot of people feel disparity. Complaints are going unheard.
Right.
Our mayor has been using Harvey, I would say, more so than leading Harvey.
Okay.
When he was first elected about 14 years ago, there wasn't a camera he didn't love. Now you can't get a hold of him. You have to go through his spokesperson, Sean Howard.
Okay.
So he's like Mr. Behind the Scenes now. I guess things got too hot for him. Anyway, he is just embroiled in nepotism and corruption, misuse of funds. I'm sure that you know, there's like reams and reams of evidence, miles and miles of newspaper articles. Everybody knows. Everybody in the county knows. He has used, you know, funds that should be buying police cars to buy a car for himself, and then claiming that, well, he's a part-time police person. He, you know, has his family on the board, the school board, appoint him to be the commissioner, and that the commissioner? Superintendent, excuse me. And then a couple weeks before his term is up, his contract is up, they vote to give him a $250,000 severance pay. Again, probably legal.
Yeah.
Definitely unethical.
Right.
Lawsuits for misconduct, and, you know, he operates with tactics of intimidation. You know, and so, like I said, the list goes on and on and on.
Right.
And my question is, and when I tell people about what's going on, their question is, well, why isn't he under the jail yet? And that's my question. I started to become a little more important and active, and so I started going to City Hall, the City Council meetings, and I have learned that the first hour is devoted to what he calls the mayor's report, which is an hour of him standing up there and doing a PowerPoint presentation and talking about how, you know, everybody's against him and everybody's lying about him and all this bad news that you hear, that's bad for the city and it's not true, and the media is against him and the Tribune is against him, and white outsiders are against him. Yeah. And the faction, which he calls the majority of our aldermen, who are trying to hold him accountable, all they want to see is what he's spending the money on. They want to look at the books. They want to see the receipts. That's all that they're asking for. And the mayor wants them to sign off on the tax levy so that he'll get the tax money for the city. And we all want the city to have the tax money. But we also want to know where it's going.
Right.
Who's being paid? Who's, getting a car? Who, we want to know where our money is going, and that is not a big ask.
Right.
But he plays us off as villains because we're trying to hold him accountable. Says that it's personal, says it's political. That's not it at all.
Now he's accusing us, many of us, and he specifically put me in a PowerPoint in which he said my name and the fact that I was a human relations commissioner, but it actually, he said, human something else. It wasn't a human relations commissioner, but it was the fact of the matter that he put me in there and I didn't even know it about it. He does those kind of things, okay. So when I got home, of course, people are calling me and saying, wow, did you see you were in the PowerPoint? I said, no, but all he did, and when Mayor Kellogg sees this video or whatever we have publicity, that's all he did. He created publicity for me because he knows that I'm always going to be fighting for the right. I have nothing against Eric Kellogg.
Our corrupt mayor had lots of family and friends, and they're in different positions in the park district, in the schools, in the library, and they're all connected to each other. So if anyone tries to speak out against corruption, like I try to and others, they are not afraid to punish you.
Right.
They will come after you for your job. So that's why I'm not all that surprised. But yeah, it made my life very stressful and very unpleasant. I was intimidated after a city council meeting. That's actually what I submitted my complaint for that, where after city council meeting, the mayor and some of his buddies and associates were basically interrogating me, saying like, well, do you even live here, and where are you from? And they're quoting to me my mother's address and saying, well, this is where you really live, isn't it? And do you even get your tax bill there? Don't you get it at the, they're quoting my mom's address, and I'm like, okay, is this how you welcome new people to town? Wow. And they just said some, rude things about me. You think you're a white boy trying to come here and help poor black people. Just go back to where you're from. Very intimidating.
Do you believe that he might be able to be worked with, or do you think
I think he's too far gone.
Okay.
I think I think greed has overtaken him. I think his pride has overtaken him. And he's shown and displayed that he's just gone. He'd rather see the city just go to ruins instead of humbling himself, and listening and working, or provide some kind of vision. There's been no vision. There's been no architectural drawing of no comprehensive plan, no nothing, just dictatorship. Like put stuff in front of us, vote for it or else.
Right.
You know, you want us to vote for it, and if we don't, we try to make the people think that the four of us is holding the city up. I think it's, I don't. As much faith and hope that I have, I would say that it's possible, but it's probably less than 1% possible. You know, a possibility of because it would take him to humble himself. We've humbled ourselves. We've taken verbal abuse. So many racist statements made during city council meetings. So many. He's assassinated, attempted to assassinate all of our character with words. And we've attempted to meet with him. He has refused to do that. From the very beginning, in our first month of being in office, the alderman, as it allowed, as the Illinois, or I should say, as the our local law allows the alderman to organize ourselves as far as the committees is concerned, which we did. He didn't approve of that. He vetoed it, which is okay, you know, because he has that power to do so. But what he negated was he did not put that item back on the agenda, the next meeting agenda, to give the council an opportunity to override his veto because he wasn't satisfied with who the alderman organized as the chairman of this committee, the chairman of that committee. So he has blocked us from having those functioning in those committees, whether he locked the doors, whether he, you know, prevented us from having the meetings at the council. He had over 100 people, I think it was around 150 city employees and other residents to protest in front of the house. And I'm talking about fire trucks, police officers. So when I was harassed coming out of my house, along with my assistant, our vehicle was surrounded, and they wouldn't let us pull off. I was assaulted by one of his close friends who jumped out of a Maserati car to snatch my cell phone out of my hand as I was videotaping the protest and smash my cell phone to the ground because I voted against the tax levy, and they said that I was going to cause over 50% of employees to lose their job. So he used that as motivation to get them to come out.
Wow.
But there was no way possible that my one vote out of 6,
Right.
you know, had that much power.
What has the mayor been doing to attempt to stop you in in your attempts to bring these issues to light and to do something about them?
I really think he's been using more of a juvenile approach.
Okay.
Name calling.
All right.
Not fact-based evidence, just name calling more so.
All right.
They're the faction. They're trying to destroy my name and my legacy. They're trying to bring me down and bring this city down. And they are trying to take over this city, whoever they are. Actually, they means white people. That's what it really means. Okay, it's code speak, for white people. Are trying to take this city back. They want to take this city from us. That kind of thing. And, I've been called a drug dealer, murderer. Okay. Yeah, drug dealer, murderer, this diabolical scheme as a drug kingpin. So it's more so just a lot of name calling to
kind of starting rumors, it sounds like.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, this administration, and I've said this before, many people have heard me say it, this administration and those that affiliate with this administration appear to operate by using threats, intimidation, rumors, innuendo. I call it tyranny.
Okay.
Okay. And they use tyranny to do just that. So they put out it's like the bully in the schoolyard. Everybody's afraid of the bully in the schoolyard. Why are we afraid of the bully in the schoolyard? I don't know. But we've always been afraid of the bully in the schoolyard because he's the bully.
Right.
No one really knows why. That threat and intimidation is always there over the people, holding them hostage. So now Mayor Kellogg becomes that bully because, first of all, he has a private, he has a public army called the police department. Okay. And he has a private army called the Nation of Islam, Fruit of Islam. Okay. And so he uses both to intimidate. Okay. And so that threat is constant there. But of course, like with the bullies, then there's the guy who transfers in from out of the district that never knew that the bully was the bully. And as soon as the bully says, "Give me your lunch money," he punches him in the nose, and everybody sees that he's not as big of a bully as everyone thought he was.
Right.
But so those threats, intimidation, the rumors, and so they start to, come up with rumors. And, just to give you an example, this past council meeting, I was accused of serving cake to my constituents. It broke my heart. I'm being funny.
I know, but
okay, yes, because that's the best thing he come up with. So what happened is he says, well, he was with the white man serving cake, so he should have been over here at the city council meeting, but he was serving cake with the white man. This is for real. This is for real. Okay. And so he tries to attack, like I said, using juvenile, what is it called? Nanny boo boo, something like that, whatever it is, using that to try to actually get people to believe that he must be doing something right, we're doing something wrong.
Right.
We're just against him because we want to be against him, and this is high school, and we just don't like him because he's the top cheerleader. And so we just don't like him. We're jealous. And it has nothing to do about the 154 million, the 20 million, the upping of the water bills. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the fact that $19,000 that he paid his son $90,000 for to host a Facebook page. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. Okay? It has nothing to do with the list of egregious activities that have been conducted under the mayor's administration. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that we're jealous of him. We wish we could be him. And I serve cake to my constituents.
Wow. Gosh. That is so ridiculous. It almost, and I don't, it almost reminds me the way you're speaking of the way a lot of people speak about our current president. How he kind of uses juvenile tactics to respond to anyone who stands up to him.
Crooked Hillary. Well, I forget what he called Marco Rubio. But yeah, this is what, and this is really, these are the taxes that he used. He even used the word after Kellyanne Conway came out with the alternative facts. That made it into one of our meetings.
Wow.
He gives a PowerPoint presentation that usually lasts somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes at every meeting.
Okay.
And alternative facts came into. It's like he goes and watches Trump on TV or some of the Trump surrogates on television, and he says, okay, now I know what